Welcome. Let's talk about the magic of getting your timing just right. I mean, making your automated tasks happen exactly when they need to, down to the very minute.
You ever have that thought, I need this report to run every single weekday morning, but definitely not on holidays? Or maybe I've got to check my system status every 5 minutes, but only during business hours. Yeah, if a simple timer just isn't cutting it for you anymore, you are in the right place.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about why scheduling your automations is so important. Then, I'll introduce you to the perfect tool for the job. We'll see where those simple timers just fall short. And then, the fun part. We're going to decode some real-world examples together. And finally, we'll get you thinking about what you can build with all this power.
Okay, let's set the stage here. Look, automation is great. We all know that. But scheduled automation, that's where the real magic happens for so many businesses.
Just think about the rhythm of your own work. It's full of these repetitive but totally essential tasks. Daily reports that have to be ready right when you grab your morning coffee, weekly data cleanups that keep everything running smoothly, or those constant health checks on your systems. These aren't just little chores, they are the absolute heartbeat of your operations.
So, how do we give that heartbeat a really precise, super reliable rhythm? Well, we use a specialized tool. It's time to meet the schedule trigger.
This right here is the key. The schedule trigger is what kicks off your entire workflow. It's like the starting pistol for the race. And it doesn't just fire off whenever. It follows a very specific schedule written in something called a Cron expression. Now, don't worry about the name. It's really just a universal way to write down a schedule.
And what is that shorthand, really? At its core, it's just a way to tell time. It's this universal language for scheduling that lets you say incredibly specific things like, run this every Monday at exactly 9 a.m., or do this on the first day of every month, right at midnight. It's less of a secret code and more of a direct command.
Now you might be thinking, hey, can't I just use a simple timer that runs every 24 hours? And sometimes, yeah, you can. But for anything serious, you're going to need much, much more control than that.
So here's the real difference. A basic interval is like a simple alarm clock. It just goes off every hour, on the hour. And that's fine for some things. But the schedule trigger, that's like a smart calendar. It knows what day of the week it is, what time it is, and even what month it is. This is absolutely crucial when your automation needs to line up with how your business actually works, which makes it way more reliable for your important workflows. You'd use this for all the really important stuff. Things like syncing your data right before the workday begins, or generating reports so they're waiting in everyone's inbox for that Monday morning meeting, or running critical system health checks every few minutes to stop problems before they even start. It's the go-to tool for any serious automation in IT, DevOps, or data.
All right, now for the really cool part. That secret code we mentioned, it's not so secret, I promise. We're going to break down a few real-world examples, and you'll see just how simple and powerful this thing is.
Okay, here's a classic. Every single day, you need a report fresh and ready, sitting in your inbox at 9 a.m. sharp. No excuses.
So let's decode this. The expression is 0, 9 times star times star times star. You can see it has 5 parts: minute, hour, day of the month, and day of the week. So for our 9 a.m. report, we set the first slot, minute, to 0, the second, hour, to 9, and for the last 3, since we want this to run every single day, we just use an asterisk. That little star is just a wildcard that means every. So all together, this just says, run at minute 0 of hour 9 every single day. See? Simple.
And here's what that looks like in action. Bam! At 9 a.m., the trigger fires. That kicks off the next step, where your workflow goes and gathers all the data it needs. And finally, it puts together the report and emails it out to everyone who needs to see it. It's all automated, perfectly on time, every time, so your team can get to work right away.
All right, next challenge. Let's say you need to archive old data to keep your systems running fast, but you only want to do it once a week, say after most people have wrapped up for the day. How about every Friday at 4 p.m.?
Let's decode this one. 0, 16 times 5. It's the same pattern. We start with minute 0. The hour is 16 because we use 24-hour time, so that's 4 p.m. We use those asterisks again for every day of the month and every month. But look at that last slot, the day of the week. We've set it to 5. In the Cron world, Sunday is 0, so that makes 5 Friday. We've just targeted one single moment in the entire week. Pretty cool, right? So, here's how that cleanup workflow plays out. At 4 p.m. on Friday, the trigger fires. The workflow gets to work. finding and archiving all that old data. And then, just to finish things off, it sends a quick message to your team's Slack channel saying, "Hey, cleanup's done."
Okay, one last example. Let's think about something that needs to happen really frequently. Imagine you're in charge of a critical service, and you need to be sure it's up and running like all the time. You need to check on it every 5 minutes.
Now this expression looks a little different. Asterisk by 5 times star times star times star. This is a fantastic little shortcut. That slash after the asterisk in the minute slot basically means every. So asterisk by 5 just means every 5 minutes. This is incredibly useful for any kind of high-frequency task like monitoring. And with that, you've basically created a tireless watchdog for your system. Every 5 minutes, the trigger fires, the workflow checks the API, and if it finds anything wrong, it immediately sends out an alert. It just works 24/7 in the background, so you don't have to.
So there you have it. You've seen how this works. You can basically speak the language of precise scheduling now. So the question isn't really how to do it anymore. It's what are you going to automate?
So let's just quickly recap the big takeaways here. The schedule trigger gives you that fine-tuned, precise control over your schedule. It lets you automate all those complex, time-sensitive jobs with really high reliability, which makes it perfect for your most important workflows. Honestly, it's a real powerhouse.
I'll leave you with this one thought. In your day, in your week, what's that one repetitive task, that one manual thing you always have to do that is just waiting for you to put it on a perfect schedule? Thanks for joining this explainer.